Okay, so I'm going to take you through Business Central apps. This is mainly MB 800. So you're going to start, you're going to see what is an app and then types of the apps of Business Central. Then you have a look at the functionality of apps and then the process of bringing an app to AppSource. So that's what we are going to cover today. I'll start by what an app or application is. Okay, can start with the AppSource. I think this was later explained by EKK before. It was before explained by EKK. So it is a launchpad for joint go-to-market activities with Microsoft, and is a flywheel for business growth. So similar to how we have Google Play or search, um, this is where we go and we get all the already developed applications which we can use uh, Microsoft related systems, for example, Business Central. So that is what we understand by the app source. So when you develop an application and for example, payroll or any other, you customize, you create your own, and then you want a market, you can give a trial and all that, and data, maybe even get some money out of it. You have to deploy it to the app source. So this was explained by EKK. I'll go on. So an application in Microsoft Dynamics 365 is a package extension that adds, modifies, or integrates functionality into the ERP. So this is an extension, just like uh, an application is similar to an extension. So it modifies, it adds, modifies, or integrates the functionality. So an application is mainly an extension of Business Central. Found primarily in Microsoft AppSource, these apps extend capabilities of specific industries on needs, such as banking, manufacturing, payroll, without customizing the core code. So what this means is that this app is ready to use. You don't have to modify it to use it. You just have to set it up and then you start using it. So that's what we understand by the word app or application in Dynamics 365. So these apps can be good from the app source, which is a Microsoft market, something like that. I'll go on to the next. You let me know in case I'm too fast or in case something needs clarification. So we have different types of apps, and one of which we're going to start with the Connect. So the Connect app, it connects your existing online services with Business Central through a powerful API, mainly using integration with other system or third-party solutions. So what we mean by a third-party solution is anything which is outside Business Central. So that is a third party. It is not related to Business Central. So that is what we mean by mainly using integration with other systems. Example, back integration. I think Gilbert is working on this. So you can develop in any language and then you can connect your Business Central to other systems. One of which you have the bank integration. I think here it's called banks. You have the file management system. For my case, I have M files. So I'm using PHP to connect M files to Business Central. That is a basic example I can give for connect app. So we also have, so here it says by using REST APIs. So Business Central has APIs, it has web services. So by using these web services, you can create a Connect app. So a Connect app isn't necessarily a Business Central application, like it's not developed in AL, although you find it on the app source, but it's not developed in AL. It is used to connect Business Central to other third-party solutions. So here it says further, you develop a Connect app in your preferred coding language. As long as the coding language supports using of REST APIs from Business Central, then you can develop this Connect app. So that is the first type that we have looked at. I'll go on to the next. We have the add-on. So the add-on, this is what we are most familiar with, or this is what we use day to day. You can extend the default capabilities in Business Central to add extra productivity features or industry functionality to fit needs of your customer base. The possibilities are plentiful. So here it explains again, an add-on app extends the experience and the existing functionality of Business Central. So basically, an add-on, just like we see the name add-on, it's an addition on what we already have in Business Central. So this is mainly developed in AL, and it is used to modify the functionality for example, someone says add this, for example, they want to add a page which wasn't there. For example, they want to add store requisitions into their Business Central. So this is what we understand by the add-on. It's developed in AL, so it should be rated to Business Central. That's the main difference. For Connect, as long as you can use the REST APIs, any programming language can work, and then you connect your Business Central to the third-party service. But on add-on, it should be developed in AL, so it should be connected. All of them should be developed in AL Business Central, and then your add-on app. So that's the main difference. I'll go on into the next slide. So we have the library app. A library app contains common code that other apps depend on. If you're going to have multiple AppSource apps, that all share common code. So the basic example I can give, we have libraries. I'm sure at least everyone is familiar with the libraries. You have Java. The basic example I can give is Java. There's always that import IO, such things. So we have a library app. That means that it shares common code which is going to be used by other codes, by other apps. For example, we know the input, output. I don't know the best example I can use for Business Central. Probably someone will give a basic example, but the library is mostly an object-oriented programming languages, whereby we have some reusable, can I say procedures, or in Business Central, I can say code units and procedures, which are used by almost a lot of apps. So this is where the library app comes in. It has the common, can I say the common procedures which are going to be used by other apps so that we don't have duplicates, so that we don't have to keep on copying code and putting it in your own apps. So once you create your app, you create dependencies on this library app so that we get the functionality which it can pick from there, and then it will start to be used. So here you can have a look at this, such as licensing, registration, and so on. You can put that common code into a library app and have the AppSource apps depend on the library app. So the library app um, mainly provides code on which your apps which you have installed depend on. Here it says also a library app does not appear on AppSource. It only lives in Business Central. So this is already in Business Central. You won't see it when you go to your extension management to see that this is the library app, but it's already there to provide the common functionality which can be used in Business Central. The service is inbuilt to install the library app behind the scenes. So just like when you are installing for it to connect to these library apps, and then it will start using the common code. Similar to dependencies, apps, but as for dependencies, apps, it is a real application depending on the other. So here by this line, we are trying to go to another type of apps, which is called the dependency apps. We have very many apps which depend on the other. For example, you can develop approval management to depend on, I can say procure to pay. So that dependency, we are trying to say that the difference between the library app and the dependency app, all of them are, they have that kind of dependency, but for library app, you don't see it. So it's inbuilt already. It is in the background. Whereas in the dependency app, you have to install one app first. So that's another, depends on that one which you have installed. So that's the main difference, but all of them have a rated issue of the dependency. So I'll go on to the functionalities of Business Central. So functionalities of Business Central apps, these are more of where we use these Business Central apps. These are just examples which I got. Industry-specific solutions, tailored functionality for specific industries. Basic example I can give, we have IDRC, so people can can give their customization or the functionalities which they want to be included to be added on. We have integration with external services. I can give M files, bank integration, LIMS integration. So we are looking at the functionality of the Business Central apps. Where are they used and how are they used? We have workflow automation, enhancing processes like document approvals. So we have the approval, the customized approvals here. We have the UI and functional extensions, customizing user interfaces. There's where users can say, you create this other page besides the one which you have. So that's also where Business Central apps come in. We have third-party connection, Connect app, linking Business Central to external solutions via APIs. So we have looked at the different types of the application where we have looked at the connect and then the add-on. So we are trying to see where are they used, what are the functionalities of these apps, those types of apps. So one of which is third-party connection, where you can connect to external services via the API. This is mainly via the Connect apps, since for them they allow to communicate to external services. So those are the functionalities right here. We are going to have a look at the code analyzer. So we have some questions at the end. So you can just have a look at the code analyzer. The code analyzer is a library that builds on the compiler's functionality to offer extended analysis of the syntax and semantics of your code at build time. The AL language extension for Visual Studio Code contains 4 analyzers. So here we are trying to see what an analyzer is. And remember, we looked at the library apps. So the code analyzer is a library. It's already there. It has all the functions, all the checks, and then it builds on the compiler's functionality to offer enhanced, sorry, to offer enhanced syntax and semantics. So syntax is like, can I say a rule of programming? Uh, yeah, I'll look at someone probably from light. I remember these things, syntax and semantics. They are mainly more of the rules to follow. I think that's the syntax. Then semantics, I'm not sure, but they're kind of related. They give like the rules of your code, how it should look, a comma should come here. So that's what it means by the syntax and semantics. So we have 4 code analyzers here in Visual Studio. They're already there. You won't see them that, okay, this is the code app or this is the app source code. You won't see them, but they're already there in the background in your Visual Studio code whenever you're programming in your AL. So the first one is the code scope. This is an analyzer that enforces the official AL coding guidelines. So here we have the code. For example, if you say you must have a begin end, this is where we'll have our code scope coming in to give you an error in case you are not following those guidelines. The second one is pertinent extension scope, is an analyzer that enforces rules that must be respected by extensions that are meant to be installed by individual tenants. So this specifically enforces rules that must be respected by extensions that are meant to be extended to be installed for individual tenants. So here the code scope, it's what we normally use. I'm not so sure about this. Maybe I'll have to research more about this and then I'll come back to tell you more. The next one is we have the AppSource scope. Is an analyzer that enforces rules that must be respected by extensions made to be published to AppSource, up to AppSource. So the AppSource, just like you hear the name, the AppSource scope analyzer mainly enforces the rules which an extension must follow in order to be published. If you don't follow this, then it will won't your application won't. Can I say it won't be allowed to go on the AppSource? We are going to have a look at some of the rules at the very end. I already have this, so we are going to cover some of the rules. For example, when you are coding, you should have a signature. You should begin your extension. For example, if you are adding an action, you should put it at the end, not after field, because that field can be removed. So we are going to have a look at more as we go on. The next one is UI cop. is an analyzer that enforces rules that must be respected by extensions that are made to customize the web client. So web client is more of what you see. So this is why UI cop comes in. It's more of the pages, how you customize. When you are customizing the pages, this will come in to check all the predefined rules if you are following them. So in case you go against any of these rules, for example, if the code scope was programmed so that you, for every function, you should have something like a begin end, or you should have lines inside, then it will bring an error. So that's basically what code analyzers do. I'll go on to the next. You let me know in case you have any question before we continue. So here we have the difference between the base app and the system app. So I tried to take a screenshot. I logged in and got some details. I think this was more up. So we have the details here. This is the system application, and the description is contains an extensive set of open source modules that make it easier to build, maintain, and easily upgrade on premises and online apps. These modules let you focus on business logic and the needs of your users or customer. So that is the system application. It doesn't have the details, just like we're going to see in base app, but it mainly it helps us to build, maintain, and is the upgrade on premises and online application, and also focus on business logic. So this is the system application. This is system Microsoft developed, so it's already there. The next one, we have the base app right here. It provides business processes that are typical for small and mid-sized companies, such as sales and purchasing, and customer, plus the vendor management, plus also some complex processes such as assembly, manufacturing, services, directed warehousing, etc. So the base application has all the logic of the business, like it's the heavier, can I say the heavier application, which has all the logic related to customers, uh, purchases, deals. So this has the main functionality. The best example I can give you is if you don't have this base application, then you won't be able to access all the master data, because it's where all that data sits, the base application. Um, we have some questions here at the end where you can check our knowledge following what we have went through at first. So I'll go ahead and I click this. Okay, so here we're going to check our knowledge. So answer the following questions to see what you have learned. What's the main difference between a Connect app and an app and an add-on app? So I request each one of you to read through, and then we can go together. You can suggest what we can fit in. So the first one says, the main difference between a Connect app and an add-on app is that a Connect app acts as an interface between Business Central and another service. Yes, the first statement is true, while an add-on app acts as a link between two dependent apps. So that's the first one. The second one is the main difference between a Connect app, a Connect and
Maybe, speaking,
add-on app. Yes, Frank?
maybe we can agree whether the first one is correct or wrong, according to
Okay.
it.
Okay. So
So
is
on
it
my
wrong?
side,
Mhm.
this thing of while an add-on app acts as a
Mm.
link between two independent apps, I think that is not correct.
Yeah, so there is no necessary, there isn't a link necessary within the add-on apps. So you can eliminate this. So this is wrong. You can take it off. The next is the main difference between a connect and an add-on is that a connect app acts as a link between two dependent apps. This is already wrong. It doesn't act, the connect app doesn't act as a link between two dependent apps, but you can continue. While an add-on app extends Business Central functionality horizontally and vertically. So following the first statement of this, what is it? The Connect app acts as a link between two dependent apps. This also makes this wrong. I'll go with the third. The main difference between a connect and an add-on app is an add-on app acts as an interface between Business Central and another service. No, this is already wrong because an add-on is works within Business Central, doesn't work on further third parties. While a Connect app extends Business Central functionality horizontally and vertically. So that's wrong. All the first three are wrong. You can go to the next. The main difference between a Connect and an add-on app is that a Connect app acts as an interface between the Business Central and another service. The first is right, while an add-on app extends Business Central functionality horizontally and vertically. So, sure, you all agree that the last one is okay. Yeah. Apart from this horizontal and vertically, which means that it kind of like endless. So this doesn't matter a lot, but the the statement makes sense starting from the Connect app, which creates an interface between Business Central and another service, and then an add-on which extends the functionality. So this is right. So the next thing is, what is a library app? So remember we looked at the library app which has common code, which other apps can use. So we go step by step. A library app contains common code that other apps depend on. Do you agree? Okay, so you can first have a look at the others, but I also agree this is okay. A library app depends on other apps that contain common code. No, it is the reverse. A library app acts as an interface between Business Central and another service. No. A library app contains code that other codes are unable to extend, not necessarily. So we just have to go with the first. Library app is an app which other applications depend on to get that common code normal. What is a code analyzer? A code analyzer is a Connect app that builds on the compiler's functionality to offer enhanced analysis of the syntax and the semantics of your code at build time. So I shall agree with this. Can first go through the others. A code analyzer is an add-on that builds on the compiler's functionality to offer enhanced analysis of the syntax and semantics. A code analyzer is an extension that builds on the compiler's functionality to offer enhanced analysis of the syntax. Then lastly, a code analyzer is a library that builds on the compiler's functionality to offer enhanced analysis of the syntax and semantics. So one of the key things you remember, a code analyzer is a library. So I'll go with the last one, since the code analyzer is a library that builds on the compiler's functionality. You see, all of them are kind of similar, but here they say it is a Connect app. Really, this is not wrong. This is not right. Code analyzer is not a Connect app, and then here it's not an add-on app, and then here it's not an extension. So the key thing is right here when they're trying to differentiate which type of application a code analyzer is. So it's basically a library. So I'll go ahead and check our answers right here. So there we go. Actually, Kim was getting them all right. Guys, yeah, very hard. So there we go. I'll go back to our slides so that we have a look at the remaining. Okay. So here we go again. We are going to have a look at the process of bringing an app to the app source. So the first step is, I try to write the steps here. Maybe I'll just explain further. And in case I don't have a clear explanation, I'll request one of the members here to help me out. I haven't done this physically or I have it practically, so I'll request someone who has ever done it, probably the formula there and there in case need arises. So the first step is to create and set up your account. So you should have an account in the app source. That's the first step. And then the next, this is just explaining a developer account enables you to submit apps and add-ins to Microsoft's marketplaces, including the Windows Store, Office Store, and all the rest. Um, you only need one developer account per company, not one per app submission. So you can use one to submit, but here it says you only need one account per company. For example, if HRP has some application to deploy, it should only use one account while deploying its applications or its apps to this app source. So the next step is develop your application or your app. So once you have your account, then the next thing is to develop. If you want to develop procure to pay, if you want to develop a payroll, store module. So this is step two. You are now developing your application. And once you are done, the third step is to initiate the validation and publication process. I try to describe more of these right here down. Marketing requirements. So we have two validations. The first one is the marketing requirements to make sure that the customer journey on AppSource is a uniform experience. And on the other hand, there are technical validation requirements to make sure the code is meeting the requirements and policies and to ensure a good user experience at a high level of quality. So basically, this is the difference. While you are initiating the validation, we are going to have a look at the two things here, mainly the marketing requirements, which mainly focuses on a uniform experience, on the customer experience, and then the other one is a technical validation to make sure that your code is meeting the requirement and policies as set by Microsoft. So basically, those are the validations which you are going to have a look at. Okay. So I try to write some of the validations which are in place or what they check once you submit your app for validation. And these are some of them. I'll go through them quick. Yeah. Um, so develop your application in Visual Studio Code. This is a validation. The second one is the .app file must be digitally signed. So I don't have an idea yet how they sign these, but these are some of the requirements which they check once you submit your application and you want it to be deployed on the app source. So anyone who has more explanation of this, you just help me out. So pages and code units that are designed to be exposed as web services must not generate any UI that would cause an exception in the calling code. So what here it means, we have worked with APIs. Okay, sorry. So we have worked with APIs whereby you find the code unit and someone put in a message, something like that. So here it says pages and the code units that are designed to be exposed as web services must not generate any UI. Remember in Business Central, when you're acting in Business Central and develop something, you can always put a message and it will display a pop-up. So basically what this is trying to mean, whenever you're doing some logic or pages, you should make sure that we normally use the UI allowed, something like that, so that we can skip those pop-ups, the code which calls those UIs in Business Central. So basically this is what it's trying to explain. Another step is validation, you are required to prefix or suffix the names of your fields and objects. So I think this was shared by Hack before. So now we require a prefix and then the suffix while you are doing your programming. The next one is data classification is required for fields of all table extension. Property must be set to other than to be classified. So I think we do most of these things when we are making the apps cloud ready. I'll go ahead and I be quick right here. Use add first and add last for placing your actions on Business Central pages. This eliminates breaking you up due to Business Central core changes. So we normally have Business Central normally has changes. This is common on cloud. You can, for example, you can say add after, and then you say an action which Microsoft initially had, and then after some time, Microsoft removes it. So here it will cause issues. That's why they say use add first and add last because these positions will never change. Add first will always be there, and then add last will always be there, irrespective of the changes Microsoft makes. Then the next one is set the application areas that apply to the controls. So failure to do this, the control will not appear in your Business Central. So yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with this. Okay, the next one is the app.json has mandatory settings that must be included. So again, you have to include the files. It should have the name, the version. So we also come a lot with this. Coding of date must follow a specific format, no longer region specific. Use the format year, month, date. For example, this. So this should be enforced while you are working with dates, and this is the format which you should use. Then remote services, including all web services calls, can use either HTTP or HTTPS. However, HTTP calls are only possible by using the HTTP request API type. So for those who have worked with the HTTP calls, this you are familiar with this. Then we have permission sets must be created by your extensions, and when marked, should give the user all setup and usage abilities. A user must not be required to have super permission to set up and usage of your extension. So these are some of the technical validations um, which happen when you submit your app on the AppSource. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and we check our knowledge right here based on what we have covered so far. Okay, so answer the following questions to see what you have learned. To get your accounts in place, what is the recommended order? So here it says create and set up your accounts, then develop your application, and then initiate the validation and publication process. So I see this is already right, but you can just have a look at the others. So the first step is to create an account, then you develop, then you submit or initiate the validation. The second says develop your app, then create and set up your accounts. This is already wrong. The first step is to create an account. Initiate the validation process. This is already wrong. This is at the very last end. So I'll go ahead and I go with create. Okay. What is the reason? Sorry. What is the reason for marketing validation requirements? So we mainly saw it focuses on the customer uniformity, but you can just have a look at all this. The marketing validation is in place to make sure that the customer journey on AppSource is time consuming, where customers need to invest time to get to an overview. Oh, this is very wrong. So the marketing validation is in place to make sure that the customer journey on app stores is a complex experience. I just stopped there at the moment I see complex. I go to the next. The marketing validation is in place to make sure that the customer's journey on app stores is difficult. Ah, this is also very wrong. So I'll go with this. The marketing validation is in place to make sure that the customer journey on AppSource is a uniform experience where customers quickly and easily get an overview of your offers functionality. So I'll go with this. This is very right. Which of the following statements is not a technical validation requirement? First, the app file must be digitally signed. This is right. It is a validation requirement, a technical one. Permission sets must be created by your extension, and when marked, should give the user all setup and usage abilities. This is also right. This isn't wrong. You are required to provide two logos on AppSource. We didn't see that. Uh-huh. For your apps search page and that realization. Okay. The user scenario document must contain detailed steps of all setups and user validation tests. So I'll go with this. You are required to provide two logos on AppSource. So this isn't really a technical validation. I see this one was there, this one was there. Usage scenario document must contain detailed steps of all the setups and user validation tests. So I'll go with this. I don't see this as a technical validation. You can just go ahead and check. Okay, so just as they are here, we have gotten this, right? Okay, so I'll go ahead and okay, I think I'm almost okay. I've come to the end. I don't know if anyone has questions. I've tried to cover whatever Mag had assigned to me before, and also to give a more overview of what I code, but there's a lot more when you go into the reading. Over to you, Tim, in case anyone has something to add on or.
All right, thank you, speaker, for that wonderful presentation. Those who have presented to the speaker and the Kaka, you will share those slides. Maybe what I request you to add to the slides is the references. I know you got that information from somewhere. So when you are sharing the slide, I want you to include the slide that has references where people can click and go and read more.